Yes, I'm editor-in-chief for one of the most important political online magazine called allforsyria.info. We have about 40,000 visitors daily to the website, plus we distribute it to our fans and readers inside Syria who cannot access the website because it's banned for the Syrians. They receive it through email, so we send plus the 40,000 visitors, 17,000 subscribers for our daily newsletter. So the total will be about 57,000 daily. I'm activist supporting the Syrian civil society with all their needs to provide free information to know what's really going on, and we have a good relation with all Syrian NGO.
You started allforsyria.info 5 years ago, right?
2003.
2003. How did it evolve?
We started just to send it to a few people through emails, about 500 my friends. Then after 5 months, one suggested in September 2003 that there's something called website. I didn't heard about it in Syria at that time, so I can build it very cheap prices. So I moved from sending the news by email to upload it on a website that anyone can access it. And this is how we start in September 2003. In April 2004, the Syrian government banned us because they consider that it's not good for the Syrians to read this information or to have access to a free information, because that will change their perspective about this regime. So, but we continued till now, and we are working, and we have a lot of readers.
So you had to leave the country, though?
I have to leave the country in 2007 because I was harassed a lot, threatened a lot, so I cannot stay anymore, and I cannot feel secure more in Syria.
Yeah. What happened the last couple of weeks, since, really serious unrest started in Syria as well? What happened to your blog, to your website?
Also, we continue our works even in the hard time. 3 of our reporters were interrogated, put in jail, harassed, and they let them sign that they cannot work with us anymore. And they harassed the other reporters, so we have to now recruit another people, but we have always every day some volunteers who came to us because they know what are we doing and how we helping the Syrian civil society. So they came to us free, just to help us in edit, to send us info, to send us videos, just to support us, to show their sympathy with us, which is very important.
Yeah. So before we start with these 3 statements, could you please give us your point of view on why did it start now, and what caused all these unrests? Was it Tunisia? Was it Egypt? What was happening there? Or would it have started anyway without these happenings in Egypt and
No, it's a part of what's going on in all the Arab world. We cannot neglect the role of the Tunisia and Egypt successful stories that affect and inspire all the Arab regions, including Syria, plus the role of the media and the satellite channels to transfer and to show what's going on and how the people demonstrate and how the slogans used, which inspire either the Syrian young and youth to use the same slogans. And this is how it starts in Syria, by I don't want to say an accident, but it starts very, very small demonstration with 20 to 30, 50 persons only.
And it started out in Tehran, not in Damascus?
In Damascus, at the first day, second day, till the third day, when some youngs, less than 12 years old, students in the school, wrote on the wall that the people want to let the regime fall. So the political intelligence, which is headed by the cousin of the president, Atif Najib in Daraa, arrested them, tortured them, took their gloves, not gloves with this.
Fingernails.
They took their fingernails, even they are less than 12 years old. When their fathers came to say to the officer, please let them out and we will guarantee that they will not repeat this again. He threatened them, insult them very badly. And even he threatened them that he will bring their mothers to the jail. For this is which turn everything and ignite that they should go and demonstrate against this corrupted regime.
Do you say, or would you think there is something possible, like a smooth transition, or does it has to be like a revolution and a real radical cut?
We hope that this will go a smooth landing towards democracy and freedom and modern Syria, the new Syria. But I don't think this regime is able to lead such transitional reforms.
But would it be enough if the leading figures like the Assad family would resign, or?
They will not resign. They just announced 2 days ago. We came on the tanks in 1970 when his father led a coup, and they will not leave but on tanks. They will stay. They are ready to bomb also.
So you are pretty pessimistic about all of this?
I think we will face a hard time a little bit, but we hope that some officers in the army and officials will understand that it's not good for Syria and for the future of their sons to continue killing the people in the street. Civilians, demonstrators killed by tanks. This is unbelievable.
How is the communication between those who live in exile like you and those, let's call them activists as well, who are still inside Syria?
It's not easy, but there's a lot of ways. We are all struggling, but we have all a big aim and a big objective to reach. So we are all fighting for that.
So what is your dream of the new Syria? How would you describe it? How do you see it?
Syria for Syrians, not for a family. That's it.
It's pretty easy and pretty clear. Yeah. So let's go to the statements of Bas Kaplan. His first statement is, social political dynamics of Syria can't be compared with Egypt and Tunisia.
That's right, because Syria have 18 sects, which is religion, and sub-religion, which is sects and professions. And they are all live together with tolerance, with love for thousands of years. So we don't have problems using together, living together. Even there's a lot of marriage, mixed marriage, and no one asks his neighbor what is his religion in Syria. So we passed this. But this regime, since he came to power in 1970, because they are from the minority, he wants to stimulate and to remind every sect that they are there in order to make each one of them afraid from the others, and the one that will support them or let them think that they will be safe only by this regime. This is our problem now we are facing.
So you are saying they are pretty much aware of this diversity?
For sure. For sure. This is.
But they still feed it and heat it up one against each other.
That's right. The regime is feeding it. Like what happened in Egypt when they discovered that the regime is the one that burned these churches in order to inflame this sectarianism.
Okay. The second statement of Bas Kaplan is, for all its flaws, Syria's autocratic regime has been more inclusive than Libya's and Egypt's. What is your take on this?
Just remind me what was inside.
He said that in the last 40 years, Syria has made some progress towards building a more cohesive state and reducing sectarianism. Before the Assads rose to power in the 70s, the country was among the most unstable in the whole Middle East. The regime has done better than Mubarak in Egypt, Gaddafi in Libya, or Saleh in Yemen, in reducing poverty and co-opting important sections of society.
Okay.
So he said
okay.
They have done something right, but and actually they've been better than the regimes in Egypt and Libya.
The regime, he always announced that he built the institutions, which is true, but very weak institutions, full of corruption, very bad administrative procedures. You cannot reach or do any paperwork in the government without paying bribes, and there's nothing could be done and finalized without the approval of the intelligence apparatus. So it's hierarchy, there's hierarchy, but it's very weak, very bad, it cannot operate alone. We need a new mentality, redesign and re-engineer all the Syrian civil servants, the employees, the laws, and the institutions.
So are you saying that it's actually not much different than it used to be in Libya and Egypt?
The regime in Syria is more clever than them. He used a very good public relation company from England to do all this propaganda that they are strong, they are modernized, that the president and his wife, they are top elite and chic in fashion, and they are westernized, and they have this Western mind. They are Western-minded. They are pro-democracy, but the system is keeping them from going so fast, which is not true at all. This is a very false story designed by this public relation company.
Which is communicating outside the country or
That's right.
inside?
That's right.
How is the situation inside the country, the communication inside?
Now there's many cities you cannot contact them. There's no telecommunication, plus they cut electricity and water in many big cities, which is unacceptable at all.
The third statement, again, Seth Kaplan is arguing from the side of the US, trying to give advice to US policymakers. He says that gradual, inclusive transition instead of radical change is needed.
Yes, we all
Describing
agree.
something like a National Security Council, which rules are transparent, and would this go along with your idea how the transition?
This is what we all ask for, the gradual changes, but even the president called for gradual changes because he said that the Syrians are not ready for democracy, and this is the most big difference between, I think, Mr. Kaplan's argument and the president is the president wanted the gradual change to take a generation, as he announced to the Christian Science Monitor newspaper. A generation that will secure that he will stay as a president for more than 35 years. When I think Mr. Kaplan, he has in his mind when he meant this, a timetable could be finished by 4 or 5 years at the maximum. Transparent, announced, agenda with a timetable, all the people agree on it, which we don't have in Syria.
Would the people be ready for it? Would there be some kind of opposition ready to take over in Syria?
The people that brought Hafiz Assad and his son to stay in power 40 years can bring thousands of new Bashar al-Assad and Hafiz Assad.
What does this mean?
That Syria, which brought to the world the 7th of the 10th big issue, the alphabet, the first anthem, the first parliament, the first law, the first agriculture, the wheat. So they can bring to the world also new top leaders.